All right. Oh no, I've lost. Okay, so welcome, Fedi Friends, to episode 25 of Fireside Fedi. I'm your host, Ozone. Fireside Fedi is a show about folks within the Fediverse. If you're seeing this, you are a part of the Fediverse. And yes, even folks on YouTube and big tech right now, we are adopting you. You are temporarily Fedizens. With me today is MizKirsten. MizKirsten is a creator of the Indie Beat FM, a streaming radio showcasing indie tunes from the Fediverse. MizKirsten also founded Patron Hunt, an independent, affordable alternative to Patreon, which is now federated. We'll talk about that in a bit. But before I actually ask MizKirsten how to be addressed, I have to fix her mic because OBS is not picking her up right now, which is a lot of fun. And maybe that did it.
Do you want me to say things?
There you
Testing.
go. Yep, nope,
Check.
we're good.
1, 2, check. We have to say, the music industry.
And just to give everyone a heads up on this episode, we have been plagued with every single kind of technical issue getting this going, and we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to roll with it. So
I always bring my gremlins with me.
you did a good job. It's killing me here. But anyway, MizKirsten, welcome. And how would you like to be addressed?
You can call me Kirsten.
Kirsten. Okay. No Ms.
You can call me Ms. Kirsten too, either one. That's just my handle, but the world knows my name, so it's totally okay to just call me Kirsten.
I've kind of gotten to that point too. I was always trying to hide who I was, and then I'm like, well, I now have a nonprofit organization that anyone can look up, and my name has to be on it. So,
yeah,
public information at this point. So,
yeah.
But
YOLO, baby.
Right? Yeah, it is what it is anymore. But thank you very much for joining me. And we're going to start with the easiest question, which is, how did you get to where you're at today?
Gee.
Very simple, right?
Just failure after failure.
Tell you what, though, my martial arts dojo, whenever they talk about failure, they talk about fail, first attempt in learning. And we don't get to be as experienced as we are and eventually succeed without the failures, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'll try to keep this short. I've been in the internet's a very long time. I was around for Internet 1.0, and I started my internet career in 1997. And that was a startup. So, and it was one of these homepage things sort of like Angel Fire or GeoCities. Remember those?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, yeah. I do.
It was called Zoom, XOOM. And a lot of things happened there that led to me not becoming a millionaire. So I had to keep working. But I started my own thing back in 2000. It was called Beauty Riot, beautyriot.com. And I ran that for several years and then sold it. But foolishly sold it for stock, and that didn't make me a millionaire. So then I went on to do some consulting and various things, and at one point landed at Automatic for a couple of years in their VIP division, and that was really a great experience. And kept trying to start my own companies along the way. And then I did some consulting and then some more startups. And then after I got laid off from the last startup, the most recent one a couple years ago, I was like, I'm done with this shizzle and just decided to make it work. So I started Patron Hunt. Patron Hunt was meant to be an alternative to Patreon. And it was really fun to build. I built the whole thing myself. It's built on top of WordPress and BuddyPress and, integrated with Stripe and all that. And then, but turns out it's really hard to compete with Patreon.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? You would think I would figure these things after a point. Don't try to build a competitor, right, to Amazon or something like that. But I did. And, but it was still really fun. And the important part about it is that I talked to just scores of creative type people in that process doing the discovery. And that's always been something that was very worth everything for me to really get into that community, learn about the pain points that creative people have with this world that we're in now, right? Which was supposed to be the creator economy that was supposed to set all the creatives free so that they could make a living, even if it was small, from their art.
Yep.
And instead, they've become the exploited asset. And there's all these things out there trying to make money off of them instead of for them.
Right.
Yeah. So recent events eventually led me back to the Fediverse. I had created a Mastodon account at some point, right? Exploring things like I always do, like I think all of us who are in the Fediverse do.
Yep.
And then it kind of floated away from it for a while. And then it became clear to me it was time to come back. And I came back, and one day I was reading about the most recent acquisition of Bandcamp.
Okay.
And it's a private equity firm that most recently acquired Bandcamp. And I thought, oh boy, because Bandcamp is where I find new music. Spotify's useless for making recommendations to me. Spotify hasn't shown me anything new that I want, that I'm interested in I don't know, a couple of years or something. So Bandcamp's really where I find cool music that I like. And I thought, well, that's going to get screwed now that they're owned by a private equity company. And I went onto Mastodon and I said, is anybody in the Fediverse building an alternative to Bandcamp? And unlike what would have happened if I'd done that on Twitter or some other place, people actually answered me with actual answers. Yeah. And there were a lot of things that were mentioned, right? Like Funk Whale and Merlot and like everybody that's doing things, all the interesting things. But someone said to me, oh, you should talk to, and I think it was Andy who said to me, you should talk to Ben Pate. He's building something called Bandwagon. Yeah. So when someone says to me, you should talk to somebody, I think, yeah, okay. So I can't remember whether Andy introduced me or whether I introduced myself. But anyway, the next thing I knew, I was on a Zoom call with Ben, and we were, talking about what our hopes and dreams, for the future and stuff. And he was already doing an alternative to Bandcamp, so to speak. I think it's going to be way more than that. But and I thought, well, here's what I know from talking to scores of artists and creatives, in the past few years, is that discovery is the problem. Discovery is the problem. Yep. And how can I help with discovery? I want to help with discovery because I really love music. Like I never don't have music happening in my environment. I actually think life is impossible without music. And so I'm not a musician. I'm not in a band. Now that's a fantasy maybe happening over in another universe. But I was in the company band one time, but that was it. So that was when I was like, all right, what I want is to create a place to discover the bands that are in the Fediverse, the artists that are in the Fediverse. And as I started to put that together, it just so happened that Radio Free Fedi announced they were going to shut down.
Yeah.
And Andy did introduce me to Control Freak, the person who ran Radio Free Fedi, who was very generous with their time, talking to me a lot about what they'd learned, all of their wisdom and insights from running Radio Free Fedi. And so right around the time, this wasn't planned, it just happened this way. Right around the time that Radio Free Fedi shut down is right about the time that I launched the Indie Beat in January, just January of this year. And I feel like I'm filibustering, so I apologize.
No. This is amazing. I have a million questions already. We're never going to get to all of them, but please keep going.
I will take a breath so that you can ask some questions. What Ben and I talked about was, my thing was a couple of things. I personally don't want to charge artists money. So I've set myself this constraint. I will not be charging artists money. The other thing was, look, to me, one of the biggest advantages of federation and of any federating platform or protocol ought to be that it reduces effort and work for people. You ought to be able to put
Mm-hmm.
something one place
Yeah.
once, right? And the same should be true for music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I didn't want the indie beat to be yet another place people had to upload all their stuff. So I was saying, and so that's what Ben and I talked about. We were like, that's how together we can collaborate, we can federate to make life easier for music people, for artists. So there's no way to do that right now, really, with ActivityPub. So we just federated by hand. We hand rolled our federation. So right now, like, it's really hand rolled. I get an email every time someone uploads an album to Bandwagon. And if I've said Bandcamp instead of Bandwagon in any part of this so far, I apologize, Ben, because Ben's the best.
Ben is amazing.
Ben's amazing. And I get an email that tells me that there's a new album up on Bandwagon. And he, God bless him, creates zip files of everything I need of every album. And right now I have a little bit of a script that I'm using in the terminal that I go and I grab the zip and I unzip it and I copy it all over to the Indie Beats server, because the Indie Beat is an AzuraCast instance. So I copy everything over, and I check everything. I eyeball everything to make sure it turned out right, because of the way we're doing this, because of the way we have to do it, because of me and the fact that I haven't done very much coding yet, I do have to actually hand check everything to make sure. Is the album art there? Did the genres come across? All that. But anyway, and I get it up, and then I get out of the terminal and I go over to the AzuraCast interface, and I'm like, okay, this album is jazz and it's electronica, right? And I add it to the jazz and the electronica stations that are on the
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is, but it goes by pretty quick. But yeah, there's a lot of music coming in, which is so amazing. There's
good.
Just still all this music pouring in. It's so cool.
I have a million questions, so we will come back around to that.
Well, and by the way, the plan is not to continue with the zip file method. Ben has gone to the trouble to build an API that I can use, and I'm hoping in July to finally have the breathing space to write some webhooks and some stuff to automate this more. But it's still going to require me eyeballing everything that comes in until we get all the kinks worked out.
Wow, you're fearless. You're amazing. No, seriously, like it's incredible. You're just like, yeah, I'm just going to build this thing. I'll just learn it. It's fine. Like 1997, you built. So you started out building a website, and you apparently don't have a background in IT or programming.
I'm all community taught.
That's amazing. How? Okay, so in 1997, right? Like that, the most information that I ever found in early internet was chat rooms and forums and things like that. Is that how
there
you
were
did
books
it?
then. There were books then.
There were books. DNS. There's a DNS book. Like running your own DNS book.
I've read a lot of O'Reilly books, my friend.
Okay. Do you have stock in O'Reilly? I hope.
I wish I had.
They made some. I mean, they still do make great books, but that.
I mean,
what?
I have a lot of books.
1997, Kirsten, you were just like, hey, I like this. I'm just going to make this my life? Or how did you decide to do this?
Yeah. So I started out after college, after graduating from college in Denver, Colorado. Okay. I hopped in a drive-away car, what was called a drive-away car with a friend who had a fiance in Brooklyn and moved to New York City without a penny in my pocket. In fact, I was overdrawn on my checking account. I just didn't know it. And so drive-away car was this thing where, I don't know if they still do it, but the car dealers, if someone wants a car but they want it in a different color or something, and they know they've got one in some other state or something, you can drive that car to where it needs to be for free. All you got to do is pay for the gas. You're not supposed to take any detours. And if you do, you get in trouble, and I know that firsthand. But anyway, so this young woman and I, both the two of us at like 22 years of age, drove from Denver to New York, and I got like a job being a secretary, and I went to acting school.
Okay.
Okay, because I always want to do things that have no hope of making me a dime. And so, I met my husband there and got married and did acting. And then we both kind of, at one point, gave up acting. And this is when we went to North Carolina. So we just started kind of.
Oh, I lost you for a second. This is part of the technical issues we were talking about. I don't know what's going on. Hey, we got two of them now.
I got kicked.
Sorry. Again, I'll figure this out afterwards, but we decided just to go ahead with it because life throws you random curveballs, and we just got to keep rolling with it. But
I managed to tell the long version of every story, but we were doing stuff. Oh, that was the old Kirsten that got kicked.
That was the old Kirsten, yeah.
That was my clone. Okay. Well, we went to North Carolina. We lived on the beach for a year, and that was when the internet was really just getting going. And I was like, well, we got to get on this internet thing, and I got AOL and everything, and that was when I was like, this is the future. And I went on and bought a book and learned HTML. And there wasn't CSS yet, so all I could learn was HTML. And then I got really interested, and I bought a book about like computer basics, like binary code and hexadecimal code, all that stuff.
Yep.
And I don't remember a lot of that now, but it was really interesting to me. And I kind of surprised myself that I was interested in anything that had anything anywhere near to being math in it. And so then I picked up and I learned C++. And then I learned Perl.
Oh my God.
And I'm probably just triggering a lot of people right now, but
I had to use Perl in college. And when I used Perl in college, I decided I will never use Perl again. Perl is amazingly powerful, and it is one of the most hideous things ever, and I could not wrap my brain around. You're incredible. Sorry, please go on.
Well, so that's how I got into it. And then we went to Charlottesville, Virginia for a year while my husband went to school there. And what did I do? Yeah, I was working as an assistant in a CD-ROM DVD manufacturing plant, and which was horrible. Okay. But that was where I met this guy who had started an internet company. He was getting CDs made with us, and I was helping him, and we were helping him get ready for a conference, a trade show. I don't remember which one it was. And then I went to the trade show. We went to the trade show as the CD manufacturing company, and he was there, and he didn't want to pay for a booth. So he was like, will you help me store stuff? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll put it under our table. And he was so nice, and he was so grateful for all the help I gave him. Right. And so later on, when he called to say thanks after it was over, and he said, if there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. And I said, there is something you can do for me. Give me a job. And he said, okay.
Is this? I'm waiting for you to be like, yeah, this guy was Jeff Bezos or something.
Well, no, you probably haven't heard of him.
Okay.
He's not he's a multi-million. He's a 100 millionaire, but he's not famous. Yeah, we're not in touch anymore.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, you don't have to go into it. No, okay. So then, and is that when you started your consulting career?
No, so I worked for that company until the big dot bomb.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that was my first internet job layoff. But that one was quite lucrative, unlike the others, in terms of the severance and stuff. Yeah. And I did have stock that I had managed to cash out some of it. I should have cashed out more, but I cashed out some of it to pay to start my company, Beauty Riot.
Okay.
So I got Beauty Riot going. Beauty Riot is now just like this sad piece of garbage out there that's run, if that's the word you want to call it, by the company that bought them. Mm-hmm. They ruined it.
Yeah.
So, but I started Beauty Riot, and again, this is like the year 2000. I have to tell you, in the year 2000, if you remember, there was like 2 other websites for women.
I didn't even know there were 2.
Right, and I mean, some of the magazines were starting to get going, like the fashion magazines and stuff. And at the time, I was really loved makeup and hair and beauty and stuff, and but I'm also a punk, and so I wanted like a beauty website for punk girls, punk women, and so that's what Beauty Riot started out being. And then as we kind of followed the follower, we ended up, it was just like thousands upon thousands of pictures of celebrities, women celebrities, and their different hairstyles. Like,
Okay.
Women would just look at picture after picture after picture after picture after picture, right? They would just go next, looking for a hairstyle, which, I mean, I've been known to do myself. And so, that's kind of what we ended up offering, because that's what people wanted. And you couldn't get it then. It's so hard for everybody to, but I will make one brag. Because I always remember the hairstyles, because that's what kind of ended up being what was the breadwinner. But what I really wanted to do was create an online virtual makeover.
Oh, and yeah.
Web apps didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
You could do virtual makers, but you had to buy them on CD-ROM and put them in your computer. And I was like, this needs to be on the internet.
That feels so antiquated hearing you say that.
I got someone to program that in the predecessor to Flash.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was this offshoot of, do you remember Director? I mean, like, remember Macromedia, the company?
Oh, yeah. No, okay. I talk about books. I started reading one of those giant books, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is. I'm done.
So I was really into that, right? Because creative. And so I got this dude out in Minneapolis, who could really write their scripting language, and really knew a lot about visual stuff and color and things. And he made it. And then at first you had to still kind of install it on your computer. It had to live locally on your computer. But then once we got to Flash, it didn't have to. And really, honestly, I feel like it was one of the first web apps that ever existed, because when you would open it, it would upload new makeup, right? You'd get new makeup. And I remember asking one of the guys, I still had my job, right, when I was building this. And I said to him, what if we made something on the internet, an app that the user could get a computer app that would work with the internet and get data from the internet to update itself every time they opened it.
Okay.
And he went,
like an updater.
Whoa, that sounds really insecure. He was like, I do not recommend that. And but we did, right? So and I used to update that data. It was a CSV spreadsheet that I would update manually, right? Whenever we got new makeup added, and hairstyles to try on. So that was this thing you could use for free, and all you had to do was give us your email address. And I built that up and then sold it in 2009.
Okay. Wow.
Super long story to what you thought was a simple question.
No. I say things are simple questions, but nothing is, right? And this is why I love talking to people, because, no offense, like we immediately have images of what people's lifestyles are like as soon as we see them, right? And
yeah,
I mean,
sure, that's human.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We classify immediately threat or friend, right? And then we go from there and we subdivide and looking at someone like you, it's like, okay, you're obviously an artsy person. You like to express yourself. And then you tell me like, I've had, half a dozen different startup web companies, and I'm just like, this is incredible. And again, I say, like, you're fearless. You just jump in. Me, I've started projects like 1,000 times. I'm just like, it's too hard. I'm walking away. And you're just like, no, I'm just going to do it. And that's
You've
incredible.
Probably saved yourself a lot of heartache, my friend. So there's, you know what I mean? Like, there's pluses to
there are,
approaches.
right? Like, very stressful and things like that, but it's made you who you are
and
today.
Expensive.
And expensive, yeah. Right. And you find the Fediverse, and you, it sounds like one of the things is you immediately look for how can you help. And one of the things I love about the Fediverse is we're all in this mindset of, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the next 100 billion D, million D mega millionaire. I want to empower people. And that's what the internet, in my opinion, was about. And we've gotten away from that, and now we're trying to trend back towards that, right? Like, we all want to make a living. Don't get me wrong, but we want to help empower people, because that's how we all go.
Sort of my return to the Fediverse, like probably a lot of people, is really tangled up in a lot of stuff, personally and emotionally and philosophically, right?
Yeah.
I do not want to be a millionaire.
No.
I'm done trying to be a millionaire. And I don't have regrets exactly, but I realized that this idea that I should be a millionaire just took me down a lot of roads that, I think, like, there's other things I could have been doing. And now, it's after that last layoff that I really got to realize all of this. I really got swept up in the gold rush or something during those years.
Yeah. We've been chasing the gold rush, the next gold rush, for the last 30 years after the internet.
And it's not really me. I started out after I got out of college going, I'm going to go to New York, and I don't care if I live in a hovel. I don't care if I live in a shithole. Like, I want to be an actor. And I want to hang around. I want to have an artistic community, right? And all this. And then that kind of, life happens, right? And I floated away from it. And then I just kind of, by accident, landed in San Francisco in 1998. And the next thing I know, I'm at like parties that cost $1 million, and everybody's Xing. Like, everybody's on X, and I'm singing in the company band. Like...
but that's amazing. But you come to the point where you don't. I don't know. I've never. It was
very Romanesque. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I went to Vegas last year for Dynatrace conference, and I was just like, this isn't for me. Like, the opulence of everything, I feel so out of place. I can't stand it. Like, it's amazing and beautiful, and they'll get you whatever you want. And as soon as you walk outside, like, there's just homeless folks everywhere.
Vegas is a nightmare, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we can have both. Like, we can help people and still have nice things, and it's that kind of lifestyle was in for me. Even just doing this is so far outside my comfort zone. I never even showed my face. I never said my name. There were people that I've known for 20 years on the internet that never knew my actual name, because I've always cherished my privacy. But again, to foster the Fediverse, we're at another point where I feel that this could be the next big thing. It can help empower creatives. It can help empower people again. And I'm assuming you feel similar.
Very exciting to be here. This is it. This is where I want to be.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And this is what I do need to make a living. We all need, but I have another business right now that's making a living, so I should, it's fine and everything. It would be nice to make a little bit of a living on the Fediverse too, but I'm more interested in what the Fediverse is going to do to help with make the changes that are coming and inevitable to humanity positive for more people.
Yes. Yeah, I can agree with that. And I mean, the early days of the internet was a weird, wild place where you can just share whatever. And it feels like we've gotten sterilized and corporatized, and everyone's so worried about getting canceled that we moved away from that. And I feel that social media is not going anywhere, right? It will be around forever. And we need to decide whether it's the social media that we have right now, or if a new open, you control your own platform is more important to people. And I think that's where we're at. We're at that crossroads, and a lot of folks don't realize you can. And again, building a platform like the Indie Beat Radio gives people power. You did talk about discoverability.
Yes.
So what do you have thoughts on how you tackle that outside of, I was listening to this earlier. I like the Indie Beat. Sometimes you get stuff that's not really for you. In just the random now playing stuff. But there's a lot on here.
And yes, we're at way over 3,000 tracks now. I need to update the number actually, because I just did a huge update on Saturday night. But discoverability. So this again ties into the Fediverse generally, right? Which is all of us who talk about it all the time. A lot of us who talk about it a lot of the time are very interested in how can we get more people here.
Yes.
Not everybody is interested in that, but a lot of us are interested in how can we help more people get here. As someone who is actually not a developer first, right? I'm actually a product person. My developer skills are just a hobby, truly, but they help me get things done that I want to get done when I need to get them done. So the past several years, 15 years for me, but more about product. Even when I ran my own company, right? You're really the product is what you're always thinking about. That's all about the user. So it's my philosophy that we need to focus on the fun. The fun and the utility, those two things. And those will be gateways into the Fediverse for people who have no idea what Linux is and don't care and don't want to know, and they don't want you to tell them. And so
no, this is you're saying this, and I've looked at it from a commercial point of view, like you said, like how do we sell the Fediverse? And you're basically saying, well, let's not worry about that. Let's make fun and interesting things, and people will come. And that's a great way to look at it, and it definitely seems up your alley.
Yeah, right. So I tend to be that person in a lot of these conversations who will say, okay, the protocol can do and we, but what do people want to do? Right?
No,
And look, I don't mean to say that people talk about the protocol too much or about tech too much or anything, right? It's just that right now, which is pretty normal and pretty expected, there are a lot of very technical people. Because they're the early adopters of things. And I'm technical, so I'm here and I'm comfortable and stuff. But yeah, so I feel like, well, there's a lot of technical people here who are contributing their technical chops. What I can contribute more usefully to the conversations are my product chops. To say, look, and so I always try to think about when we're saying, how do we get more people to the Fediverse? I don't know that it's necessarily even explaining to them how it works. I don't think they need to know how it works. I don't think they care how it works.
No, they don't. It's a tool, right? They think about it as much as their hammer. Yeah,
and I love Elena. How did you pronounce her name? Elena?
I thought it was Elena.
Elena? Okay, I don't know. I've never heard her say her name, actually.
I'll eventually do an interview with her. She's tied up right now, but we'll find out. I always thought it was Elena Rossini because she's Italian.
Yeah, right? So that's how you would say it if you were Italian?
I think so.
Okay. So anyway, that video, right, that was
beautiful,
previewed at Fediform and everything is fantastic.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people understand it, but at the end of the day, and that's for people with a particular problem who are beginning to understand that they don't like their privacy being invaded and so on and so forth. And so, but I think like I'm getting to an even more surface level thing. I think the indie beat just happens to appeal to an even more surface level thing, which is like Spotify sucks, right? Like it's just simple. How come I can't find new indie music anymore? What's going on with Bandcamp, right? Like, and like I just want to have and I'm sick of the fact that like I think I have music on my playlist on Spotify and then it just disappears one day because they don't have the rights anymore. The artist pulled it. When I want to just buy music and own it, and I want to create my playlists and they're always there, and I want to be able to share them with people, with my friends, like when you make mixtapes, right? Like how we used to just, because I personally discover almost all the new music that I like from recommendations from people.
And I absolutely love everything you're saying here, because again, this reminds me of the early internet. Like you could build anything, you can create anything, you can look at it from a completely different angle and just go with it. And that's what you're doing. It's so exciting to talk to folks like that, because yes, I'm a very technical person, right? And I've had a very different career than you have, but I've heard constantly from a lot of folks in corporations that the software is not ready. No matter what it is, the software is not ready. And like when I started my nonprofit BT Free to start advocating for the Fediverse, there's a lot of people, it's not ready. It's never going to be ready until we start showing people it, finding the problems, allowing them to build whatever they want. Like, is it ready? Depends on your idea of which section you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And right. You've built this thing, right? And really,
I haven't built much. Like, let's be really honest. I haven't built much. What I've done is run the scripts to install things. Okay. And then, so I just installed Azuracast. I like the one thing I probably have what we could almost call expertise in, right, is WordPress. So I just did up a WordPress, like Patron Hunt was totally WordPress, like I told you, right? I just did up a WordPress to be the front end. And then frankly, like struggled with some things until someone who has much more skill with JavaScript than I do. And I really don't have like time for anything right now because I really am doing 8,000 crazy life-changing things right now. But Axwax built the player that actually shows the album art and the album name and the link back to the artist, which is like so important. It's what the indie beat's supposed to be about, right? And for a while we didn't have that because Azuracast doesn't ship it out of the box.
Okay.
Made me this nice HTML5 player, right? Thank you. And then like Andy has made a player that works in GNU, and Limebar. I'm getting everybody's name right this time. Limebar made the Roku app, and there's other people doing other things, right? Like, so I haven't built too much. I will build now the automations that are going to make this go a little faster. But
I think you are the type of person that the Fediverse has been missing for a couple of years, right? So the classic example that I could think of is Apple. Yes, Steve Jobs could code, but he was not Steve Wozniak, right? And it took both parts of that to make it what it was. I'm not a huge Apple fan. I think they can make some beautiful stuff. I don't agree with the lockdown that they have, but it takes multiple levels. Like John Ivey, he can make stuff, but like his vision is really what drove a lot of the design. And we have the technical people that can build stuff. We need folks like yourself that is like, I think this can be designed this way. I think that, we need to have this. What is fun is such an easy thing to say that we often forget. And it's like, no. We need to go back to the protocol layer and rebuild it from scratch. And it's like, guys, you're missing the point. Like people, if you build something that is fun
first, right? So a real startup mentality is, well, let's just do this in spreadsheets until we know what people really want to do with it, and then we'll write it and go.
See, and that's the
Right?
thing from a technical support or from a technical side. I'm like, no, that sounds ridiculous. We'll never be able to build it to support people. And you're just like, we worry about that when we get to it, which is how a lot of these companies became so big and successful.
Right. If we get flooded by people who want to use a thing that we're manually doing with spreadsheets, that's a great problem to have.
This is, yeah, you're
and
amazing.
Those people will be patient while we build it in Go or Python. Or,
I love this.
So
one of the conversations you had, again, back to discoverability. It's a problem not just on the Fediverse. It's a problem on any big platform now. One of my friends, I asked her, like I said, I would spin up an own cache for her if she would want to try it. And she's like, the problem I have is no one's going to be able to find me. And she's been on Twitch for literally, I've known her for 10 years, and she has, 4, 5, 6 people that watch her anyway. And it's like, discoverability doesn't work on Twitch either. So I don't understand that issue. But one of the things that you said that the reason that I've never used Spotify is because of that discoverability. But I have used Pandora for ages. Have you ever tried Pandora?
Yeah.
Pandora has I don't know if it's still open and free or not, but they had the Genome Project, where when they started, they had communities tagging different things. And as you liked a song, or as you, thumb down a song, it looks at what tags you have and it tries to match up those tags to recommend new stuff to you. I found so many, I wouldn't say they're indie, but they're people that I never would have heard of without that kind of system. Is that kind of what you're trying to get to? And if so, have you thought about building a system where the community can help you tag different genres? Because it's going to get to a point where, like, as you said, you have to build automation for it.
So.
Oh, well, is this their announcement? This would be great.
No, not an announcement. But,
okay.
So the answer to all that is no.
Okay. All right.
No, but I'll tell you why. No. It makes it like I'm sorry. Like that was it was such low hanging fruit to say no like that. Be a dick. Okay. Here's what it is really. So no, probably not. Maybe not ever. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And this doesn't necessarily apply to every single thing that might happen, but I think it applies here. And this is it. Like the thing with music recommendations is that I think I don't think there's an algorithm in the world. I don't think there's an AI that will ever exist that can do it right.
Wholly subjective.
I don't believe that. Yeah. I really don't believe that. And what makes my taste in what I like and what I don't like is so human that only other humans get it. And sometimes they can't even put it into words. But like two humans with very similar taste will vibe, and with that, for lack of a better word, and they won't be able to quite put it in words maybe, right?
Okay.
And music and art, all things art, are really, really, really that way. And there's this great book. What is it called? I won't be able to think of the name of the book, but there's a book about why Spotify sucks, basically. And it talks about how the reason you'll get, like, you'll like a song by an artist, and then it'll start recommending you a bunch of stuff by that artist, or that they recommend to people who like that artist.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's completely not for you, because the song you liked by the art, that song is a departure for that artist.
Yes, it's a wholly unique. Yep, I was thinking that. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, like, I can't tell you why I like what I like. I mean, my kids laugh their heads off at my playlist. I have, okay, you ready? I just want to do this for a second. I have Eric B. and Rakim. I have Richard Hell and the Voidoids. I have the Psychedelic Furs. I have I have a lot of punk. That's probably the one thing you can pin me with is punk. The MC5. I have a lot of electronica. I have Ladytron. I got a little bit of Gwen Stefani in there. I have Willie Nelson. I have the James Bond theme. I have
Yeah.
right, like I have a Poulenc and Satie. Like I love that kind of piano. They're all in there.
Hmm.
Now you tell me what you ought to recommend to me.
No, and I think these are
And no
excellent
computer.
points. Like yeah, I like Enya. I like the Jenna Tortures. Like they are so different, right?
Right?
That yeah, no, that's totally fair.
And my
And
daughter recommends these
it's a
these
given
K-pop
moment.
bands to me and stuff, and some of them I like,
Oh
some of them I
yeah,
don't. And what does that have to do with anything else I listen to? So,
baby
my point
metal.
being,
I love baby metal.
baby metal I've heard of. I'm so proud that I've heard of it. Um, so, so my point being that I think that what we need to facilitate here
Mm-hmm.
is people being able to share music with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like my favorite example is, I have a couple of channels on the Indie Beat
Mm-hmm.
run by other people. I have 3 now.
Okay.
Nom, Bonkwave, and what's the other one called? It's called it
Audio
has a name.
interface.
Thank you very much. I always want to
Mm-hmm.
say independent access. It's audio interface. Thank you for saving my butt there. Those, right? And I have found I love them all, but I do find myself tuning into Nam a lot because he and I have very similar tastes. And I can't explain to you why.
Okay. So, but you're empowering people to organically create what they like and then share.
My hope, my current
Love that.
hope and vision for the Indie Beat is to find a way to facilitate people maybe hosting their private music collections if they want. That isn't necessary, but even with what's there, right, that the artists have put up, to allow anyone to create multiple playlists that are shareable
Okay.
with their friends and stuff,
Yeah.
because so it's the old 80s mixtape. That's really what I think is the ideal way.
I'm not laughing because God, yeah, I remember making mixtapes in the 90s. You run to the cassette player like, "Oh, I love this song on the radio." You hurry up and hit record, right? Then you share it with your friends.
I mean, if you can remember, like this was
Yeah.
part of dating ritual. You like somebody, you make them a mixtape. And if the
There's
mixtape
movies.
resonates,
Yeah.
you might have something in common and you might be compatible. I mean, really seriously, this was a
No.
thing.
Yeah.
So that is how human it is. And
I love
and so
this.
that's what I would really like to see. I don't think there's a way to automate it. I don't think there's a way to algorithm it.
Well, and I've never really used Spotify, so I don't know.
Even with tags, by the way, right? Like punk means one thing
Yeah.
to me and something
It's
else
right.
to you, and you know.
Yeah. But I know people on Spotify have created playlists and then they share the playlist, but I don't know how common that is, but that's
Yeah,
similar to
and
what you're
Spotify
doing here.
buries them now. They want you to listen
Oh,
to
do they?
they want you to listen to the AI generated music that they're starting to make because they don't have to pay anybody.
Gross. That's
Yeah.
gross. That's so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So those 3 independently operated stations on the Indie Beat are hopefully a glimpse into the future of what the Indie Beat is going to be. And with all the artists that are on there now, we'll work with them to go back and be like, who wants to opt in to being available to be put on people's playlists?
Yeah, because you have a roadmap, right? So is
Yeah.
that? Oh, and you have a
So it's on the
GitHub.
site, and there's also I stood up a GitHub project as well for people who like to follow there versus having to look at the website.
Okay. Yeah, I love it. So what is your long-term goal for you or the Indie Beat or the Fediverse? Like what are your hopes and dreams come out of this? I love the face you
Okay.
made.
Thank you for asking that.
You seem like a very in the spur of the moment. You're like, I'm just gonna go do this. Is that why the face was there?
No, well, no, actually, because I think like I'm a real dreamer, like a lot of creative people. And actually, this is such a thing right now to me in terms of what are our hopes and dreams for the future?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we're in a moment
Mm-hmm.
in human history, to get very philosophical, where there are a lot of terrible things happening, but those are opening up doors to creating things and pathways and places and spaces for creating the world we want to go forward into. And the Fediverse is one of those spaces. That's why I was saying to my husband yesterday at breakfast, I'm like, I really feel like I'm really part of the Rebel Alliance. It's so
cool. Me too.
Right?
Me too. Yes.
I have friends everywhere.
You have to. I've been telling people this too. Like, I've been on Linux for years, right? Like, I'm a huge nerd, and whenever someone is like, "Oh, why aren't you on Facebook?" and I'm like, "Oh, because I really am concerned about these things." They're like, that would never happen. And you have to make it so that it is so bad that people kind of realize that maybe this is an issue. And it's not even just people, it's governments, right? Governments are starting to realize, like, we can't depend on these things anymore.
We can't depend on broken billionaires, emotionally broken billionaires to So and so I think it's very important that we don't just talk about, like, what do we need to build? And like, I think we need to think about, well, what do we want to see in the world first? And then how can we build as little as possible to make that happen? So that we're always flexible to being able to shift where we need to shift as the data comes in, right, in response to what we've built. Like, and so we're kind of in the early stages of planning a Fedi music forum coming up in the fall. And that was one of the things I said was, well, what was kind of funny was it took a few days before someone said, well, shouldn't we be playing music at Fedi Music? I was like,
what?
Yes!
At a music fest? No.
Right? Like, so, but thank God we're in this space with music artists who, after watching us talk about protocols and crap, go, well, what about the music? So, but also I said, look, I really like to see us actually focus on our dreams, our hopes for what the music Fediverse looks like. That's what should be the theme, because I don't think we should build anything, right, until we're really, at least we have one or two shared, yes, that's what we want, ideas going there. And so so what I hope is that we can, as I think inevitably a bigger and bigger portion of the population will do, which is turn off to these corporate things that are out there gobbling up their lives and making everything crappy. I think they will be looking, right, for a place to go. And so as long as we make it easy to join and fun to join, what's going to happen is, right, that's just it happens person by person. Someone shares a playlist and it turns out it's on Indie Beat. And they find an artist they like, it turns out they're on Bandwagon, and they buy the track on Bandwagon, right? And and then they want to watch the music video, and it's on PeerTube. And this is how we bring people in. You should only put what they need to know in front of them as they go. You don't dump the whole thing on them.
So I worked in sales at Circuit City eons ago, right? And the one thing that they would always say is you plant the seeds. And that's exactly, like, I always thought it was so stupid when they said it, but no, that's what it is. You can't just force someone in it. You plant the seeds and you keep planting the seeds and you see what grows. Sometimes PeerTube's not going to work for them, right? Sometimes the Indie Beat does work for them. Mastodon might. Facebook, works for them right now, but maybe Friendica is tomorrow. And you keep planting those seeds and we see what grows and the corporate.
And it's not about Mastodon. It's not about Friendica. It's not about PeerTube. It's not about the Indie Beat. It's about Mel Joanne. It's about an Elena, and it's like that's the thing.
And you and me.
Yeah.
It is the people. What can we build?
Right? Like it's about like I got like what we want is for someone who's from the Fediverse to share, right, one of Mel Joanne's songs, and the person really likes the song, and they click on the link to watch the video, and they're not thinking about, oh, where am I now? What is this? They just read as organic as it can be is the thing. And it's not about going, I think I'm going to join Friendica today. Like, that is not how that will happen.
Yeah.
Right? It will be I didn't know that my knitting club wants me to join them over here on this thing. I'm going to create an account, and then organically they learn how to use Friendica, and then Friendica leads them into peer-to-peer, right? Like, that is how that will happen.
Yeah. No, and I love Mel. I'm trying to get her on the show as well. She's awesome. Yeah. I love that kind of silly, sarcastic, cynical type of music that like boldly puts this stuff in your face while also being like lighthearted and fun and pop. Jack Harris is who I actually started listening to recently, or Bo Burnham. I love that kind of stuff. It makes you think. Yeah. But those are the type of people we want to empower, right? And really everyone. And when I say, we're building this, it's not, people are like, well, I'm not a coder. And I tell people, you don't have to be. You're not building a piece of software. You're building a community. Right. You're building friends. Like, and as you were saying, like, there are things you can't build, but as long as you put it out there and you're willing to accept help, there are people that are like, I know how to do this. I've been looking for a project. I'll build that for you on the software side. But it's the software is just a tool. That's not going to bring people. As you're saying, like, we are going to bring people. And
there are going to always be people. Let's hope that eventually there's so many of us that there's more of us here who don't know a thing about code than not. Mm-hmm. Those of us who can code and who can sysadmin and all that kind of crap, that's what we will contribute. But a person should not ever, ever have to do a second of that to fully participate.
Yep.
In the Fediverse, right? Like, that is the hope and the dream. The other thing too, though, I do think about is, someone's probably out there already doing this. This has nothing to do with music, but I keep thinking people are starting to think about their privacy and all that. And like, I think it would be really cool to have like a nonprofit that is just hosting workshops in person at libraries and stuff, where it's like, we today, you're going to sit down with someone today. There's 10 of us here, and you're going to sit down with them, and you're going to spend an hour with them, and they're going to get you completely open source. They're going to completely open source your life.
Have I told you about my nonprofit? That's literally, like, that's one of my goals. There's a lot of people that I have in my community that are so willing to do the technical side, and they blow me away. And I like talking to people. And I've had this idea, like, grandma and grandpa, let me help you, because I love teaching people stuff. Let's have a sit down. Let's talk about this. And grandma and grandpa, like, you can have pictures of your grandkids and you can control it. And here's how you do that. Let me show you, and I'll set it up for you. And that's kind of where I want to get to is helping individuals get on board with this, because that's how it was on the internet. There was nightly news things like, what is the web? How do you get on it? And there's a CD out there of the Friends cast explaining how to get on the internet, right? And I want that's what
that's awesome.
I'm looking to do. I want to facilitate us connecting as human beings. Or I've gone to my local a couple local communities, like my martial arts place. I'm like, how would you like it if you had a safe space that you controlled for all of your students? And they're like, that sounds great. Like, they have a Facebook page, but they don't use it. And again, social media is not going anywhere, but we need to teach kids, just like anything else, how to use it. And these laws saying, no one 16 and under can use it. You're not giving them the tools to be ready by 16 to use it effectively and to understand all the dangers and all the good and all the misinformation and whatnot out there.
And I'll tell you what, in my opinion,
exactly what I want to do. Yeah.
Gen Z is ready. My
Yeah.
kids are Gen Z, right? They're teenagers. 18. He's gonna be 18. My daughter just turned 16.
Wow.
And you know what they love? Vinyl and CDs
Oh, yeah.
and film cameras and
Yeah.
Polaroid cameras. Like that
Yep.
generation, like it's out
Yeah.
there. Like parents talk about this. They actually get it. That you know what? They've eaten the bag of marshmallows
Yep.
that is social media, and now they feel like they're gonna puke. And they would like some
They want to.
lentils now.
They want to own their stuff.
I shouldn't
Right.
call open source lentils. We got to think of something better. But anyway, my point is like open source is the equivalent of the film camera. And that is my next project with my kids. We're moving soon, and once we get that under our belt, that's kind of how they're going to spend their next year. It's like we're going to get them open source savvy and everything. But yeah, see, so I just think it would be really great, right? Like if we take a real what do you call it, mutual aid kind of view of this, and be like, look, we'll even have cheap used laptops you can buy at this event for $200.
Less than that.
Oh,
Like, yeah, you can, because again, I've been thinking about doing exactly that. Like a lot of places have laptops that are completely fine and they need to get rid of them. Like if you take them in and be like, here, come to my panel and I'll show you how to use this stuff. We'll install it with you because you need to learn how to use these tools. Like again, I remember being a kid. My dad, he had to walk me how to use a hammer. How do you use a drill? These are more complex, but they are still basic tools that we need for our modern day society. You need them. You can't get away from them. Everyone has a supercomputer in their pocket, right? And the more ignorant that we stay about it and not understanding the tools that we use, the more likely we are to be abused by them, in my opinion. So, but
yeah.
So how can folks help you achieve whatever goal you want? Are they able to reach out to you and say, I want to build everything for you? You don't have a donation link set up yet. We talked about that earlier, but how would you like people to help you achieve whatever you want?
Well, I think right now first of all, anybody who wants to build a player can. There's nothing standing between them and doing that because we're on Azuracast. If you are technical, you can build a player or a bot, or just like Limebar has done. Limebar has done the bot and the wall and everything that are on Mastodon. So there's an IndieBeat bot that tells you what's playing at the moment. I did not build that. Limebar built that. And because the API is open, right, with the now playing, what's called the now playing data. Anyone can do that. Secondly, if you would like to have a station, the way that Nam does, the way that Bonkwave does, the way that these guys do, just reach out. I'll make it happen.
And you are MizKirsten.
MizKirsten, MizKirsten on Mastodon.
Mastodon.social is where you're looking.
.social. Yeah. Or, there's probably, I think I have a way to, and I think all that is on the indiebeat.fm, all that information about how to contact. Or you can find the project on GitHub if you're so inclined, if that's your jam, and find me there. But or if you know Ben, tell Ben to tell me, like, whatever you got to do, put out a carrier pigeon. I don't care, as long as I get it. I'm very interested in seeing more people creating channels and playlists so that we can start to understand together how this works for people.
Yeah.
And again, so that you are contributing to discovery.
And that's, speaking of discovery, like the Fediwall.social. I just found out about Fediwall the other day, and I saw today on IndieBeat you have a Fediwall of different artists and things. That's so great.
That's Limebar's work.
Is it? I love that. Fediwall is awesome as well. It's all amazing. Again, it's empowering people. And as I've told people, Apple, Google, Facebook, like if you don't get a set amount of activity amongst it, they shut it down. as long as we're alive and we're enjoying it, it'll be there whether there's one user or 1,000, right? And then you can take this and build on it and build something else. And I absolutely love all of this. This is great.
Yeah, I want artists to be able to make more money. Like, I do want that. And so for the ones who want to make money with the music, right? And so being discovered is the key to that, I think. And so if they can discover through the tools that the Indie Beat can provide, and then go buy the tracks, whether it's on Bandwagon or wherever the artist wants them to buy them, we will have done our job.
That's awesome. I love all of this. This is great. You're amazing. And obviously we know Ben is amazing and Line Bar is amazing. And interestingly enough, not to like throw shade on Ben, but when I reached out to him before Fedi Forum and I'm like, hey, I saw you have this Bandwagon thing, I'm starting a show. Would you be interested in being on? He's like, I'm not that interesting. And I'm like, hang on a second. We're all interesting. And then I met him during Fedi Forum. And I'm like, Ben, oh my God, are you serious? He's like, okay, we'll schedule something in the future. And I'm like, dude, you're amazing. Like everyone. I want to talk to everyone. Everyone has a different, unique past. Everyone looks at these things differently. And I've said, I can't do absolutely everything, but together we can do anything and build anything. And I love all this stuff. I'm so excited by all of it.
Yes, right. And this is what, so again, this is the important thing about the Fediverse, is that it really is about the people. It is not about the protocol. And because again, I am federated with Bandwagon, not through any particular protocol except email. And
but it works.
So federation is not a protocol. It is a thing you do.
I love that idea. Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now for the real reason I asked MizKirsten here.
Oh, no.
To give her an opportunity to win a prize of a lifetime. Our prize today is a spotty apple in a Pandora's box. Sounds delicious, right? Thought about...
Well done.
I thought about whatever this Spotify thing was, getting you that, but I figured we already had the Spotty Apple. Surely it's the same thing, right? Because Spotty, it makes, Are you ready for the quiz, MizKirsten?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Favorite movie and why is it Spaceballs? I'm not biased in the least.
My favorite movie is What's Up, Doc?
What's Up, Doc? What is that?
Oh, my God. You youngsters.
I don't think I'm that much younger than you.
Well, that's what you get for thinking.
That's fair. Oh, Barbara Streisand movie.
But thank you.
Screwball comedy. This sounds right up my alley.
It is the screwball comedy, and it is funny to this day. And it is, if you like screwball comedies, obviously all artists subjective, but really, truly, if I had to only pick one, that would be the one. And then after that, it's probably a controversial one, but either Blade Runner movie.
Okay. I can't. So I love screwball comedies. One of my community members, he broke down and we watched Spaceballs together, and I was like, "What did you think of it?" And he's like, "It's silly." And I was like, "I know, isn't it great?" And he's like, "No, it's silly. I don't do silly." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. I love it, but I love screwball comedies."
Humor may be the most subjective art form of all.
Oh yeah. What was his name? Oh God, he was a Super Bowl comedian. Always has a cigar. I can't think of it. Not Groucho Marx.
Oh, Groucho Marx.
No, not Groucho.
I know who you're talking about.
From the 90s.
The guy not the guy who said, "Take my wife, please," and all that.
No, I can't remember his name right now, but he always said that comedy is one of the most serious forms of business.
Oh.
Yeah. From
the 90s with a cigar?
Yeah, he was super old.
That's going to drive me crazy. Okay.
I know. I'll look it up and I'll tell you later and find it. And it'll be, as soon as I remember, it'll be obvious. But no, I'll have to look this up. This looks right up my alley. I love ridiculous. All right. So next question. Rock, rocks, or ruckus?
Ruckus.
Ruckus? Okay. Why ruckus?
Because I'm a punk.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Next question is,
right? You should always be making a ruckus wherever you go. You should.
That's what the Fediverse is about, right? Breaking down the current societal norms and trying to build something better.
right?
I'll make it fit. I don't know.
Do not go along to get along. Make a ruckus.
Oh, I like that. All right. Next question is chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
Mm-hmm. I eat 400 calories of chocolate every day of my life.
Wait. That is a very specific number. Why 400 calories a day of chocolate every day?
Oh, well, okay. This is not very punk, but I do count my calories to maintain my weight. And also I do kind of have to watch my food counts because I have high cholesterol. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to deserve that. But anyway, and so I always make sure I leave room for chocolate. And I've found that I'm not happy unless I can have 400 calories.
I would disagree, though, about it not being punk, because I think taking care of yourself so that you can be punk for as long as possible is pretty damn punk.
Yes. Self-destruction as a punk thing is actually not necessarily a punk thing. Yeah.
All right. And we talked about an alternate universe MizKirsten do. So what does an alternate universe MizKirsten do? Our next question.
Oh, what does an alternate universe MizKirsten do?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because everyone's like, I don't know. I once played piano, so a pianist. It's like, no, but it's an alternate universe. It could be anything.
Right. Oh, so I can really go crazy?
Go for it.
An alternate universe, Kirsten, is my consciousness in a robot body that can live forever. Everyone thinks I'm crazy for wanting to live forever. That can live forever and can defend the defenseless and all that.
That is probably the most unique answer that anyone's ever given me. I love it. Well, I
was going to say an artist, but you were like, no, think bigger.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do know how to follow a prompt. I can do.
So that. I have a very magic alternate universe phone here. So I was able to reach out to one of the infinite alternate universes, and I spoke to an alternate universe, MizKirsten, and she says she beats indies, but she said INDIES, and she says interstellar negligent duopoly intrinsic entities. So I have no idea what that is.
Think about how close that is to what I said.
Yeah. And I didn't make that up, obviously. I mean, I obviously have a real alternate universe phone here. So
that is very creative.
She is very creative. I'm not. Next question, following up on that very interesting one, was left or right?
Left.
Okay. Why left? Because I mean, right is right, but
I'm right-handed, but I think it's always worth going against your dominant nature.
Okay. I like that answer. And I don't think you just made it up right this second, right?
I did, but
all right. Okay. And then our last question, as usual, will be sent to MizKirsten telepathically. I'll send you the question. I'll let you know when it gets there. Obviously, you'll know because we're telepathic. But for our audio listeners, this will give them the cue to expect your answer. Are you ready for the question?
I think so.
All right, here it comes. Okay. Take your time. Think about it. I know it was a very long question. Let me know whatever your answer is to that question that I sent to you telepathically.
Okay. I have my answer.
Okay. What's your answer?
My favorite joke is time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana.
That took me way longer to get.
It does take long. It's one that takes everyone a minute. It took me a minute the first time. That's a Groucho Marxism. He is one of my favorite humans that ever was,
I loved Groucho. Yeah.
And I love time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana.
I like that. I do like that. All right. Congratulations. You got every answer either correct or incorrect. Good job. Unfortunately, our community musician Enoent got hungry and he ate the spotty apple. And for some reason, he ate the Pandora's box as well. So I'll make sure to punish him accordingly. But that's it. That's all we have. Thank you so much for joining me. This was a blast. I absolutely love it. Hopefully, I was going to say hopefully we could stay in communication over the Fediverse, but it's the Fediverse. Of course we will.
Of course we can, and we will.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to help out, MizKirsten, or has suggestions, or just wants to say hi, all of the information.
Or wants to create a station,
or wants to create a station.
Let's do it. Or wants to integrate, wants to federate. If you're running something and you want to federate, let me let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll make sure to have all of her contact information in the description below. And that's it. Everyone, make sure to tip all of your content creators, tip your admins, your software developers, anyone that you find valuable that is looking. Make sure we support each other, because that's how this all is going to work. As a reminder,
yes, shout out to the maker of AzuraCast.
Yes, I'll have to.
Thank you.
I didn't even know of AzuraCast until you mentioned, so I'll have to check that out too.
And thank you to Control Freak for telling me about things like AzuraCast. I had no idea. So.
Oh, they're on Mastodon too.
You too can run a radio station.
Yes, you can.
It's pretty easy to stand up in AzuraCast. If I can do it, truly, anyone can.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. And as a reminder, Fireside Fedi, we now have a nonprofit organization, BT Free. Our first platform is tubefree.org. Hopefully we can get to the point where we can spread the good word. We're trying. All funds that are donated to us go back to the Fediverse in one way or another, either supporting the platform directly or helping us enable other developers and things like that. So please don't hesitate. And that's all we have for today. I'm actually really sorry that we have to be done, because this has been a blast. So thank you so much. I'll definitely.
It has been delightful.
I mean, if we don't see each other, in the Fediverse, we'll definitely see each other at Fedi. All of the future Fedi forums. I'm hoping to be at every single one. So,
but I'm here. If there's anything I can do to be helpful or whatever, let me know.
Or fun. That's the main thing, right? I love that.
Today's secret word is fun.
I love that. That is great. I love that. All right. Well, everyone, thank you all so much. I wish everyone has a happy day. Remember, you're all worth it. We love having you all. You all make this Fediverse unique and interesting, and this is why we here are for folks like you. So everyone, have a great day, and we'll catch you next time.